Morning. In fact, we would have wanted to meet you in person, but due to the unforeseen circumstances of this pandemic, we have decided that we will meet all our excellencies virtually to get some input from them and also to share what ASEAN India Business Council has been doing, and we can move on. It is very important for excellencies like you to know what AIBC is doing so that whenever there is a subject on the ASEAN India matter, excellencies will be having a knowledge of voicing out issues which are relevant for progress between ASEAN and India. Just to brief you something on the ASEAN India Business Council, our council was established in 2005 by the government of ASEAN and India, and the objectives of the council are very clear. I think, Iris, can you just put the screenshot for this? We actually are working towards the betterment of working with ASEAN and India for the progress. And ASEAN India actually is one of the biggest groupings in the world, with a group of 2 billion people now. So when you talk of the numbers, ASEAN India Business Council is one of the largest platforms for a business council to work on this area of trade relationship. As I told you, we are established in 2005. We provide the private sector's perspective and feedback on broadening and deepening economic links between ASEAN and India. We identify priority areas for enhancing ASEAN-India economic cooperation. In this area, India has taken a huge step to see that how they can work with the CMLV countries on the Act East policy by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been very objective to see that India wants to work with the CMLV countries. They want to invest in the CMLV countries, that is Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar. So I think we should take an advantage of this from the ASEAN side to see how we can bring investors from India to work in these areas. I'm very sure that Laos has opened its doors for many Indian investors to come in, but the important thing is we can get investors. We can get the big corporations coming in. Our objective is also to see that how we can help the SMEs to grow further. Because in ASEAN, as Excellency knows, 97% of the businesses are managed by SMEs. And in India also, you have about that amount of businesses managed by SMEs. So if we do not look into that aspect, I think the governments between ASEAN and India will be looking at AIBC negatively. So we have to promote and see that how we can bring our SMEs forward. We can have a supply chain. We link our corporate companies, the public listed companies, the GLC companies, with our Indian companies to benefit. So that comes under to facilitate, coordinate, and promote the private sector participation in ASEAN-India economy. What is the council? The council is comprised of 25 high-level business members representing a broader spectrum and SMEs. Because the word SMEs is incorporated in our board, because we find that we play a very important role, with 2 members from ASEAN states and 5 members from India for a 2-year term. Fortunately for the AIBC, I have been the co-chair for the last 10 years, because the secretariat comes from Malaysia, and it is Malaysia who started up this council to see how we can work together with all the ASEAN countries and take this agenda forward. So we have got a very heavy task to do, and we work forward for the improvement. And the president of FICCI from India, they play a secretarial role from the Indian side to see how they manage and link with ASEAN. What is important for AIBC is that we would like to work with all the chambers, Excellency. We do not like to individually work with a certain group. So if we are in Laos, we would like to work with the Laos Indian Chamber, with the Laos Chamber, with the women's group in Laos, with the youth group in Laos, to see that everyone comes under a platform and we take them forward. And we also are working very closely with ASEAN Back. Under the ASEAN Back platform, ABAC platform, we have the joint business councils. These joint business councils comprise ASEAN, US, EU, ASEAN, we have Japan, ASEAN, we have Australia, ASEAN. All the joint chambers work together to see how we can share our knowledge to improve ASEAN. So I think we are very fortunate that we are moving into the RCEP, which has already been agreed upon. We hope by first quarter of next year or early next year, RCEP will be informed and we can have a greater advantage in this RCEP deal with China, South Korea, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and the 10 ASEAN countries. Unfortunately, India came out of RCEP. We wanted India to be there because India was a huge market, but somehow India has got its own way of looking at things, because I think the private sector would like to be more protective to their industry. So I think they needed some time to think about it. So we hope that one day India joins RCEP, which will be a better market for all of us. Then coming back to our ASEAN-India Free Trade Agreement, which we are actually reviewing it. It has been 10 years we have this agreement, ASEAN-India Free Trade Agreement. Now we are reviewing this free trade agreement, which will be taking place very soon. We are having the ASEAN Economic Ministers meeting on the 14th of September, virtually from Brunei. So at this AEM, the ASEAN ministers meet together with the Indian ministers to decide on what our objective is to move further. So this is a very important time for us to see that we can convince the governments of India and ASEAN to come up with some solutions to further improve the trade between ASEAN and India. We think that there is a possibility, but there are also challenges in this situation, because India has always been looking at things from their side and ASEAN has been very firm on their side. So I think we must strike a deal somewhere for us to move further. So these are some of the things which I would just like to explain to Excellency this morning, because the Council plays a very vital role. There are a lot of things on AIBC. I think we will just, I'll tell Mr. Johnny to give you some information on it by print later to your office, so that you can read through and take this as something which you keep with you, so that hopefully that anytime any discussion comes on ASEAN-India, Excellency would have the in-depth knowledge to say that they had a discussion with AIBC and this organization is working towards the betterment of ASEAN and India. Where Laos is concerned, I think there are a lot of Indian investments coming into Laos, and I think Laotians are also looking at some partnership with Indian companies. I think for that, I think Mr. Haider Mohammad Chaudhry will be giving you some explanation of what is happening at the ground level in Laos, so that we can pick up these pointers and see how we can improve ourselves in the ASEAN-India relationship. Today, we are talking of Laos. I'm very sure that the input which is given by Haider Mohammad Chaudhry will be, in fact, effective, and it'll be good for us to know what is happening at the ground level. AIBC has got all its representatives in every ASEAN country. The council comprises a minimum 3 members per ASEAN country. We have sometimes 4 or 5 members from one ASEAN country, because it's very important for us to get the ground feedback. The ground feedback is the feedback which we get, which we provide it to the government for input to see how the businesses can improve. We have a lot of problems in the non-tariff measures, non-tariff barriers, which are always been looked at, and I'm sure we'll overcome this. So before I end, Excellency, on behalf of AIBC, I would like to thank you for being with us this morning. It's a great honor. In fact, what we do is usually we fly down to Philippines to meet you, but now we cannot because of the COVID. So Mr. Johnny has what you call made arrangements for this virtual talk. I thank you very much. I hope that you'll always have the heart for AIBC, and we'll work together for Laos and see that we can improve ourselves and take, not ourselves, I think we should take our people, our country to a greater height. And we must have more prosperity in this region, more harmony in this region, so that we can move forward. With that, thank you, Excellency. Thank you, and have a very good day.
Thank you, Dato.
Thank you very much, Dato Ramesh Kudamal. At this juncture, may we call on the Ambassador of Lao People's Democratic Republic, His Excellency Tongkane Lua Munintne, for his keynote message.
Thank you very much, Aris. Greetings from Manila. It's my honor to be invited to attend this introductory meeting with AIBC. Good morning, Dato. Thank you for your introductory to AIBC. Thank you, Johnny, for coming up with this initiative. And also, I would like to say hello to Haider, because I have not been home for 2 years already, since COVID.
Oh, wow.
It's quite a long time. But as I already said, it's my honor to be invited to attend this meeting with AIBC. I would like to express my gratitude and congratulate AIBC for coming up with this initiative of having, even though virtual meeting, but still better than nothing, Excellency. Despite the fact that we, all countries, are still facing with COVID pandemic, and lately in the Philippines also the number of infection is increasing. We need to come up with this kind of actions in order to prevent, I think, the disruption of our country's development. And business community is an important section in the society that can play a greater role in further promoting economic development and thus the living conditions of our people. I have gone through some of the introductory slides from AIBC, and since its inception, AIBC has played a very important role in strengthening and expanding cooperation between ASEAN and India. Its activities and recommendations have provided valuable inputs to governments to take into consideration why they are taking some of the policies recommendation for all people. Taking this opportunity, I also would like to congratulate once again AIBC in the overall expanding ASEAN-India relations. As we all know that next year, 2022, we will celebrate ASEAN-India dialogue relations 30th anniversary. So I do wish to see these kind of activities that you are doing, even more actions and more initiatives from AIBC to contribute to this milestone event next year. I think with regards to business opportunity in ASEAN, despite COVID disruption, I still believe all ASEAN countries are still having vast potential for further expansion for India business people in trade, in investment, or in others variety. I agree with you that SMEs play very important role in all ASEAN countries. So we have to try to help the SMEs to have the opportunity to further expand their business. Because for big business, they already have the capacity to do this. But the SME, they are not that have that big capacity to further promote or expand the business opportunity. I agree with you totally that SMEs is very important in this regard. I think we have to think ahead. We have to think of the post-pandemic. I am of the view that post-pandemic will bring even more opportunity for all of us. Hopefully, as you mentioned, I think by next year, RCEP is going to be in operation because the process of ratification is going on now in all ASEAN countries, and some outside of ASEAN, they already ratified it. And Laos is also in the process of ratification. We will be able to make it, I think, by the end of this year or early next year. That's our aim. I think on business opportunity in Laos, Mr. Haider, you will know better than me.
Thank you.
What's the opportunity in Laos been provided? But I think we have to take in mind that next December, I mean coming December, we are going to have a high-speed train in operation from Vientiane capital to China border.
Yes.
It means we are not landlocked anymore. We are landing with China, big markets there. There are so many business opportunity open up in tourism, in agriculture, in production for export to China. That's a lot of opportunity will be provided. I think I won't be long since it's very introductory, but this is some of the preliminary idea that I see that there are great opportunity for AIBC to further expand your activities. And since one last thing, if COVID, we can go around the regions easily. I think another way of might be very useful for you. I mean, we have to have some, a tour, investment tour to all ASEAN countries. Bring your SMEs to see with their own eyes what each ASEAN countries can provide. In that case, it will be further open their capacity of seeing what are they going to do, what's the opportunity in ASEAN countries. I thank you very much for allowing me to share with you some of introductory remarks. I certainly look forward to see all of you in the future, especially Johnny and others as well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. Now, taking time out from a very busy schedule to say a few words, let me call on our Honorary Secretary General, Dato' Ravidran.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Aris, and good morning, Excellency Ambassador, and good morning to Dr. Ramesh, Haider, and Johnny, and everyone else in the group. I won't be long. I've been very much involved in ASEAN for over 36 years. I love to go back to Laos. I've got many good friends from Bun Som to Somchit, and all of them are my good friends. And we were together in, I was in the assessing the entry of Lao PDR into ASEAN in 1995. So
very early.
Yes, so I've been very much in ASEAN. So Excellency, we love to, AIBC would love to extend our support. We are trying to get as many investors from not only from India, but also within ASEAN to look at AIBC, look at Laos very positively. I know I also went to the rail track. I'm happy that the rail track is now becoming a reality. I was there in 2014, 15, and 16.
Wow.
During I think the construction was still going on. I had a visit to the showroom of the residential area where the
Okay.
so I have good memories of Laos, Your Excellency. So so we look forward if there's anything that AIBC could do to assist you in your capacity as ambassador in Philippines, as well as if there's something that you want us to look at specifically with India or within ASEAN, our doors are always open. The reason why we are having this engagement with you, like, as the ambassador, as the chair, and Mr. Johnny would have probably told you, is that we want to touch base. AIBC is not known to many of the ambassadors and many of the people in the region. So we are now bringing the profile of AIBC. When they talk about American Chamber, they know. They talk about EU, ASEAN Business Council, they know. But when you talk about AIBC, people are blur, I would say. So this is part of our outreach and engagement program. So Excellency, with that few words, thank you very much for joining us today, and look forward to working very closely with you. As I said, I'm still in touch with Laos. I was in Laos in 2019 to conduct the EU services seminar to train ASEAN officials for the services seminar. And so with that, Excellency, I'll stop there, and maybe we can have others to exchange views. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorary Secretary Datuk T. Ravidran. Now, to share more about the business opportunities in the region, we have our country chair, AIBC in Laos, Mr. Habib Muhammad Chowdhury, represented by his son, Haider Muhammad Chowdhury.
Hi, hello everyone. Hello, Datonka, hello, Johnnyka, hello, Your Excellency. Good
morning. Good morning.
Hello again. Yes. As always, I'm grateful to be here and to share the things that I've seen. Lately, I have been moving around within Laos, just traveling with some of my friends before the new lockdown was implemented. And I got to see very in depth of how different COVID in the capital and COVID in province area is. It's almost day and night different, to be honest. So I'll go in my talking points in order. Firstly, I would like to address the most recent impact of COVID in Laos. We are seeing a very high surge in cases recently. Some days we get 600, some days the highest I've seen till this day has been 958, I believe. I apologize for that. 958, I believe. So we're seeing, our hospital facilities being exhausted, government doing its best to tackle this problem. However, the new cases that are coming are not community spread cases. They're cases of people who are coming back in the country, manual laborers, workers from Thailand, from different areas coming back from the country. Because of how strict the borders and lockdown is, people are coming in illegal ways through provinces like Sabah, provinces that are sharing borders with our nation countries. This is very difficult to control. The government cannot possibly close all checkpoints in areas. So because of that, we see another surge in cases again. Now to the business side of things. Earlier when I mentioned that COVID in the capital city and COVID in province areas are two different types of COVID. In the capital city, everybody is secured and insured in a way. Businesses are moving slow, very slow, but moving enough that, monthly liabilities are being paid. But when you go to the province, you see people who rely on tourism. Laos, I believe in 2011 or 12, launched this thing called Vientiane New City, where they would, reconstruct the main areas of Vientiane, the central business district areas, the tourist local spot areas, in a goal that Laos would try to increase their revenue, source of revenue through tourism. Obviously, electricity and mining being the first and second of it. But obviously, with COVID, tourism is completely out of the question. But how does Laos continue to, continue to keep up with the plan? Because places like Vang Vieng, I'm sure His Excellency knows, places like Luang Prabang, these places are heavily tourism-based places. The source of revenue for the provinces are mostly tourism. Vang Vieng lately, I've just been there 3 days ago. A vendor told me that if in today's time they could get $10 a day as a sale, as a closed sale, that's great. Vang Vieng used to be at least up to $40 to $50 a day, which is 400 to 500,000 kip in today's evaluations. $10 a day, it blows my mind, sir, to see how COVID has done this. In order to solve for this, the government has to implement, a program where they sort of refinance the smaller SMEs where they should have a criteria, for companies where if certain companies have gone through these certain things, they're eligible for this program in order to rehabilitate the SME part of the country. In terms of other aspects, trade, we have this new dry port coming up in a place called Tanaleng Dry Port, where like Our Excellency said that we're no longer a landlocked country, but a land-linked country. With the construction of Tanaleng Dry Port, trade activities will enhance at least by 10 to 15% as there are now. We have another place called Saiseta Development Zone. It's a heavily industrialized area where we see an influx of Chinese industrial companies coming in. In terms of the Indian influence in Laos, sorry, ever since we had, Birla and all those leave, besides our company, the influx of investors have lessened a little bit, I would say, in my eyes. We do not see investors from India so keen on coming to Laos. And I believe it's because of a misrepresentation of what Lao PDR is. Unfortunately, we're at the 136th most, corrupt in the nation's evaluation. Therefore, I don't believe the numbers to be correct, which creates a wrong representation for investors. Indian investors, we have seen Tata come in a couple years ago. They wanted to come into the energy sector for mining, iron ore. We have companies like Kirloskar coming in, but the impact compared to, and this is me being very straightforward to all users, that the impact against, Chinese-based companies with Indian-based companies, China has been more forthcoming for Lao PDR. China has been more vocal in terms of what they feel towards Lao PDR. I believe through a group effort, if India could increase its funding. India recently funded around $300 to $400 million for a certain project. If India could increase its impact in terms of IT, because we're the leading nations in terms of IT, we could really make an impact on this ground. 3 weeks ago, I had a meeting with the Director General of Ministry of Culture, Tourism, and Information Technology. We talked about the fact that India has funded Laos for an IT school. IT school in the sense that kids, they go through this school, the school helps them land jobs, and the school gets a commission via them landing jobs. It's not as simple as, we send them to jobs and they do whatever they can, they make out of their lives. No, we stick with from the first phase to the last phase of them getting the job and moving ahead in their lives. What this will do is the neighboring places such as Udon Thani, which is in Thailand, and Nong Khai, which is also in Thailand, sharing a friendship border with Vientiane. We could get students from this place as well, thus increasing the source of revenue, increasing the number of employments within the country. This is so far what I have seen in terms of my observations and how things are going on in Laos at the moment, business-wise. AIBC, I've seen AIBC's impact since I would say 7, 8 years ago when my father has started with AIBC dialogue relations happening here and a lot of those things. I believe that India and I will play a vital role in this, but I believe India and India's investors need to play a very serious role in terms of how they view Laos and be vocal about that statement, because I do not feel that my country is being as vocal as neighboring countries are. And Laos being a developing nation of 8 million people and a huge land, the opportunities for business are endless. But with that being said, three key businesses come first. Pharmaceuticals have been on the rise in Laos, with licenses coming out very easily due to COVID. Mining sector for iron ore and gold. Iron ore has been on the rise in Laos. And the third would be electricity. Laos, to conclude my presentation, lately we're seeing a surges in our electricity. We're having a little bit of issues because we have not maintained it well from the first COVID hit to today's COVID hit, because we're the battery of Southeast Asia. We give to Thailand, Vietnam, and ourselves. So lately we're having a lot of issues with country dealing with our source of revenue and whatnot. But I believe that if we focus on three aspects: mining, pharmaceuticals, and energy, connecting Indian investors, bringing them here, I believe will have a great impact, as well as better the name of AIBC within this region. That is what I have to say for today, and I thank everyone for listening to my very long presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chowdhury. Now, let's open our virtual floor for open forum, or if you have any question and answer, kindly direct it to our guest. Thank you.
If I may, I do have one question, sirs.
Go ahead, Mr. Chowdhury.
Because I'm very new to this and it's only been a couple months getting into this, I was wondering how would a person of my sitting could enhance or just link up Indian investors in Laos, because I firmly believe that the mining sector and the pharmaceutical sectors are heavily on the rise and are lining up to becoming the country's, after electricity, country's second or third source of revenue. Mining has definitely been on the rise and recently pulled out of the gold mining, so that leaves only Australia, Pubia mining for gold. And for the iron ore sector, it's mostly Lao companies shipping iron ore to Chinese countries. So I was wondering, how could I find investors from mining sector, link them up here in Lao PDR and export from Laos to India, because the quality of the mines are really great here. So I was hoping to receive some recommendations or just some opinions or advice from excellencies or distinguished guests.
I think, Haider, let me answer this question to you. I think it's quite an interesting thing. Actually, you look at it around the world, the scope of minerals are actually going up. And the world is actually looking forward towards commodities. And if you see that in this COVID surge, commodities actually have played a very important role, and prices of most of the commodities have gone up. Your question of exporting iron ore to India, I think it's a great opportunity or a program which you can design it. We will have to look at it to see for some top Indian companies who are already looking into these ventures, to rope them in with partners from Laos who can get the support of the government to give them the licenses to mine this ore. Because whenever you're talking of commodities and natural minerals, the state government plays a very important role. Without approvals, without licensing, no investor is going to come in. So I think we must look for the investor to see if he's ready to come in, then speak to the local authorities to see whether we can tie up, and then start looking at it. Because this is a very, for all the countries around the world, natural resources are a very sensitive issue. Whether the government wants to pass away with that particular section of the land to foreigners, or they want to play a very important role in that exercise, I think these are all important things. What is the procedure in Laos? I cannot tell you, but I can only tell you that we can look for investors who are actually moving towards this line. But we must get further information from the Laotian government to see what sort of advantages they are giving to these investors what sort of terms and conditions they are giving to this. When you're talking of mining, it does not happen within 1 year or 2 years.
Definitely.
It's a process of 20 or 25 years.
Yes, sir.
So they have to get the lease of the land. The government must support the costs, and then they must see that both sides benefit from the whole process. So these are things which we have to understand.
Okay, sir.
These are just my views. I think if Excellency would like to add on something, please, Excellency. Yeah.
I think I agree with you that the business, I mean, for example, if Indian business community want to focus on minerals excavation, I think it's better for them to have a local partnership. It will be more easy before they can take up the business in these areas, because they are the one who will go directly with the government. They would know more than the outside in terms of the priority of the government in terms of granting license for exploration, for example. That should be. But I understand that he said that this is the possibility for Indian business to come in, like in mining. But to connect the line between the business from India into Laos, I think certainly the chapter in Laos can help the Indian business people in this regard. I think we rely on Mr. Chowdhury. I would rely on him, not me, because I'm as a diplomat, I can just forward the information on, for example, foreign investor want to go to Laos. I connect them to the local government agencies. But I myself don't know actually what's the nuances in this sector, for example. That's what I said. For example, I used to work in ASEAN-Japan Center, you may have known, in Tokyo. I was a director of trade and investment promotion there. What I do is that we maybe 20, 30 business, small, medium enterprises, we bring them to visit the countries, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, in different sectors, so they can see by their own eyes. And then they decide which is it proper to invest. As you may have known, the Japanese very careful in their investment. And that's why I think the post-COVID is very important for AIBC to further looking into the opportunity to bring SME or business people from India to visit these ASEAN countries, not only in Laos. I think you have to see the bigger pictures where there are opportunity for the SME.
I thank Your Excellency for your opinion. As Dato' said earlier, that prices of commodities, our natural resources are going up. Definitely, Uncle. The reason why I brought it up in today's meeting is because I have been closely following the trends for the last 6 months and up to a year. All the commodities prices are going up except iron ore, due to, in the month of May and June, prices went up to almost $216 to $20. But due to Chinese government's regulation, because they could not regulate the price, investors are now scared because the government has been seriously implementing them in these prices, which have caused the prices to come down to almost as low as $150 to $59. I agree with His Excellency saying that we need a local partner, but I was hoping, maybe I asked it wrong. I was hoping to find out more in terms of, because our company here could act as a local partner, how would I link up to Indian investors via AIBC? Do I communicate to a certain personnel within AIBC who would help me link to Indian investors? Because in the previous meeting, AIBC helped me link with one shipping company and one IT cyber tech company. via the meeting, but I haven't been part of any, mining sector meeting or energy sector meeting. So I was hoping to understand who would I be able to contact within AIBC to link up with certain investors, because we could act as the local partner here. But I would very much like to bring in the whole Indian side of things, because I genuinely take pride. I've been living here for 14, 15 years. I've accepted the culture, the do's and don'ts and the traditions, but deep down in my heart, I have been born and raised as an Indian with Indian cultures and values. But being 21st century, I had the blessing to take Lao culture and Indian culture together. And I believe that I can play a very vital role in it. I would just like some guidance in terms of how could I utilize the AIBC to reach my goal.
Thank you, Haider. I think basically speaking, what you are requesting is very fair. I think you could give me a personal chat with you. I'll try to explain to you on how to go about it and who are the people whom we can link and move forward. I think there are a little technical problems where I can see arising. Basically, I believe that you are an Indian at present in Laos. So when the Laos government looks at you, they will feel that it is not a local. So you can represent as an investor from India on your side to tie up with some partnership from the Laotian side so that you can group up together. And with that platform, I think you can look to see who are the real buyers or who are the investors from India who can come and join you on your platform. So these are all business suggestions. Please give me a call personally. I'll be able to guide you. Whatever assistance you require, Haider, we'll move on to that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Excellency, I think, thank you for what you have just said. I think we have to work because there are a lot of Indians, there are a lot of Laotians who need advice. So I think AIBC plays a very important role to see how we can help, especially the young businesses, because now the young businesses have come up with a new formula which is called startups.
Yes.
The whole world is hearing about startups. They just have planted something, start up, so you're a new business. But actually, startup is nothing new.
Yeah, true.
Where for centuries, people, when they start a business, you call it a startup. But now they are talking startup because they've just added in a little bit of technology. So they commit a new phase. So to all my friends, I always tell them, let's not worry. The norms have been set for centuries, but our norms have been improving. Today, you have a cobbler on the roadside. He is doing his job. He has got a handphone with him, and he has given his number to his customers. He receives a call. That is already a digitization business. He has already moved into a different area. So I think these are new formulas in business. We are going through a pandemic like what Yuka Haider has just said. These are the challenges Excellency has also explained to us. I think we businessmen must be very careful to see how we can overcome this. And we must be very cautious. For the last 1.5 years, we don't have any investors coming into ASEAN. It is very difficult. The SMEs don't have the funds to move out. So I think we must be very careful, and especially places in the CMLB countries where we understand that there are more SMEs and there are very few real corporate businesses. So I think we must take a right direction to see how we can help them, how we can motivate them, and how we can encourage them to come out of this particular period, because this is something which we are all learning every day. In my life, doing business for 47 years, I have never seen a COVID pandemic. So this is the first time I'm seeing. And everyone who's with me today is the first time you all are seeing this. So it is a first experience. And this experience, not all of us have had it. So I think our thoughts are changing. Our way of looking at things are changing. We have to progress differently. So not to worry, we will work out things, Haider, and move forward. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe we can hear from His Excellency for his final words.
Let me once again emphasize that I would like to thank you for coming up with this kind of initiative. I certainly will be ready to cooperate with the AIBC in whatever I can do in in order to promote the business opportunity for Indian community. But since I'm living here, I mean in the Philippines 2.5 years, but more than half of it is under COVID, so it's very limitation for outgoing, you know. And even though here, Philippine business community is very big compared to Laos, you know, but very few Filipinos business people have visited Laos. That's another work that I have to do to encourage Filipino people. I mean, Filipino business community to go to Laos to see what Laos can open opportunity for their business in the future. I'm trying to do, but with this COVID, it's a very limitation. But certainly in 2-3 years time, hopefully this COVID will, if not gone away, but we can cope with it. I think by that time we will see more business exchange between ASEAN member countries, between ASEAN with outside, including India. That's my wish to do for all of you. I think that's. I look forward to see Haider also in Vientiane, because I have not been home 2 years. I miss home.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Excellency, I would like to just add on something to what you just said.
Yes.
I think one of the biggest problem is travel between Philippines to Laos.
Yes.
The flight connection.
Yes.
Today, if you actually want to come to Philippines from Laos, I think you have to go via Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, whatever it is, and then reach Philippines.
Yes.
So if Excellency can write out a paper on how to improve Philippines-Laos relationship, maybe you can come up with some simple situation that at least you have one flight a month to Laos from Philippines, so that the businessman can plan, okay, once a month we have got a flight going to Philippines and coming back, so that they can prepare for it. So there might be a 3 days return or a 1 week return from Philippines to Laos and Laos to Philippines. So I know economically is not viable. If you tell an airline to do it, they won't do it. But the government has come up with some sort of budget to help this situation where countries can start linking together. Today, if Excellency want Filipinos to go to Laos, you must create something. And if Laos wants Filipinos to come to Philippines, they must create something. So both countries must go on a platform to come out with some idea. This is just my idea. You might have a better idea. Might be, just once a week or one flight, 2 weeks once, something like that. So that there is some movement between people. When you have movement between people, you will have a business movement coming in. And then you will have tourism coming in. And then the linkages will grow. Might be from 1 flight a month, you'll have 2 flights a month. From 2 flights a month, you'll have 4 flights a month. But someone must take an initiative. Airlines are not going to do it, because airlines are all very concerned of making money. So Philippines and Laos must come up with a proposal enhancing Philippine-Laos relationship. Both Laos government and Philippine government must have a certain budget. Okay, that we are subsidizing this thing to build our relationship. I think that's an idea. If you can put forward, think about it, I think it could be helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ramesh and His Excellency. As much as we wanted to continue due to time constraint, we have to end our courtesy call meeting. At this juncture, may I call on the country chair of ASEAN-India Business Council in the Philippines, country chair Johnny Shatrani.
Okay.
Thank you, Aris. We, the country chairs of ASEAN India Business Council, is honored to be given the chance to get to know His Excellency Sung King
Songkan.
Sung Khan
Yes.
Luang Munan Ton. I hope I said it correct.
It's too long. My family
long.
name. Call me Songkan. You know Songkran is
Songkran.
a water festival in India. You have water festival
We
in
have
Yes.
India.
Holy Sultan. Okay. Ambassador of Laos PDR to the Philippines. The privilege of introducing our council is indeed a great opportunity to open new ties with Laos. I also believe that this will be a good start in renewing and strengthening bonds. If we work hard, hand in hand, having the same goal, we will progress in our advocacy to create more joint ventures with our neighboring countries. May I again acknowledge the following people: Dato Ramesh Kodamal, Co-Chair for AIBC, Country Chair, AIBC Malaysia, Honorary Secretary General Dato Pravindran, in behalf of Country Chair AIBC Laos, Habib Mohammad Chowdhury, represented by his son, Haider Mohammad Chowdhury, and of course, His Excellency. In behalf of ASEAN India Business Council, thank you for your support and good morning.
Morning.
And I look forward to see you, Your Excellency,
Thank you.
Yes.
in our Rotary meetings.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you, Excellency. Bye.
Thank you. Just one last thing. My contact point, I have my mobile phone number. So I think
Yes,
you,
please.
it's better.
Please, could you put it in? We can
I
have
can
your contact number, Excellency.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope you can read or can put down my mobile number.
Yes, sir.
Plus 63
Yes.
998
998
591
591
3383.
3383.
Yes,
I will disseminate it with our AIBC
yes.
chair.
You are welcome to all of you to contact me.
So I think,
Yes,
Johnny, you can just put a message and send out to the members. We'll do that.
Yes,
And
sure.
we'll
I'll
start
do-
linking. And Excellency, if you get any requirement from Laos, please let us know that we can help.
Okay, yes. Thank you. Certainly.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Heather, I can also help you.